So as I've said a number of times recently, I don't have a problem with Bitcoin. I think it's here to stay in some form or some value for some purpose. I'm not sure what that purpose is yet. I do have quite a few issues with the way you and others have made certain claims about Bitcoin. And I want to point out the risks that exist but are never addressed. And I want to defend some of the statements that you've made about gold. And in doing all that, I'm hoping to draw a distinction between what Bitcoin is, what it isn't, what maybe it aspires to be. Understanding that distinction is very important because you need to assess that distinction to assess its risk profile and therefore where it fits in any given portfolio. I think our viewers deserve to know that risk, and they need to know how that distinction happens between gold and Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin is a safe haven asset yet. I think there's a very good chance it never will be. I think it may aspire to be, but aspiring to be something doesn't make it so. And sometimes I dance around the living room in my underwear, but it doesn't make me Madonna. So as far as your claims on gold, I'm not really sure what you're trying to achieve by disparaging gold. I mean, I do have a theory, and you're welcome to correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think you're trying to create a narrative for a higher price for Bitcoin. And in order to do that, you need to convince everyone out there that gold is worthless, and all of that value that currently resides in gold will be all transferred, all $12 trillion of it will be transferred to Bitcoin. And in that way, you can justify a $500,000 Bitcoin price or $1 million Bitcoin price. Otherwise, why would anybody pay $60,000 today without that target in mind? I can't see any other way where you can make the kind of claims that you're making about where the price, where Bitcoin is going. And I think it's a really clever approach, and I take my hat off to you. You've been very effective. And in many ways, I think it's sad because I think Bitcoin believers and gold believers agree on 90% of everything. And we fall apart on this last 10% of which one is better. And I think it's all part and parcel of this binary attitude that exists in the discourse in America today. You're either on one side or the other, and there's no middle ground. But I see it as a strategy of your strategy where the stakes are kind of do or die. It's sort of a Game of Thrones per se. But the truth is we're only in the first season, and there are a lot of risks that lie ahead of us. And the question you have to ask is, will you still be alive in season 8? And I just don't think you are presenting the risks that face Bitcoin in order to get there and survive. You like to pretend those risks don't exist, and you gloss over them, because I think you're in a race to win. And I think that's kind of sad. But pretending that Bitcoin is a risk-free asset is just, I think, naive. Because if you fail to subsume the entire value of gold, what are you left with? You're left with hoping that a greater fool is going to come in and pay a higher price. I think the threats are real, and I think the biggest threats are going to come from government and central banks. History has shown that governments go to extreme lengths to protect their monopoly on currency, and they will not tolerate a global decentralized currency. It's just not going to happen. And especially if we have, say, a dollar crisis, which I think we can all assume is coming somewhere down the road. And your claims that Bitcoin is untouchable, unstoppable, are simply not true. And by the way, you don't have to kill Bitcoin with a death blow. You can severely damage or kill it with multiple cuts. So you've been very effective at pretending that there aren't risks, and I think I'm going to spend most of this conversation just pointing out where the risks exist. And I just think telling your viewers that Bitcoin is going to double every 6 months is, I have a lot of trouble with that. So whatever the outcome is on this, this is on you. But perhaps you'll change my mind, and so let's get on to it.
All right.
Let's get on with it.